All right, everybody. Well, hey. All right. Well, hey, we're getting rock and roll here. Sorry for the couple minutes delay there with technology. Gotta absolutely love technology out there and how it kind of plays a good role. And then you can always have a few glitches here and there. So, but anyway, hey, we're off rock and rolling tonight on Note Night in America. Just absolutely excited to be here, guys. Tonight's webinar is definitely something I think we're going to have a lot of people ask questions about, take a lot of notes on. So if you have not grabbed a piece of paper, pencil, something, or a pen, do so now because you're going to want to take notes. We often get a lot of people asking questions about due diligence. We had a few more the normal questions over the last couple of days. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do a webinar on this to kind of go through some of the basic stuff that you need to kind of know for it. So as I said tonight, it's all about due diligence for dummies. But before we dive into the content tonight, you were in the right spot, hopefully, for WeCloseNotes.com, our Monday night webinar. So as always, we have a big goal. I always like to start the show off here with what our goal is. 5-year goal to help educate and create 10,000 note investors. And we're well on our way to do that, especially getting close to hitting year one's goals for the most part. And we're still just over halfway, which is phenomenal. But we're here, can't do it without you. Absolutely cannot do it without you here, guys, tonight. So looking forward to that. So as always, who's on the call? Everybody's always wondering who is on the Note Night in America with us. Well, there are a variety of people on with us. Real estate investors, note investors, people looking to get into notes. These calls are recorded. I did hit the record button on this thing, so it'll be uploaded to YouTube along with our iTunes channel as well, our Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, all that good stuff as well. Yes, we want to give a big shout out. Thank you guys for all that are listening to this on iTunes on our podcast platform, which is awesome. Thank you so much. Love it. If you guys are watching this live or you also listen to this live, please do me a favor. Get a second. Go to Apple Podcasts, leave a review. Find this. Just look for Note Night in America. Leave a review. Would love it if you left a review on there. As always, if you go to our home page, WeCloseNotes.com, as well as the blog, you'll see our recorded episodes in there as well. Along with that, Note Camp 5.0 is also on iTunes as well as its own podcast, and we just went over the 5,000 download barrier mark as of a couple days ago. But tomorrow is a kind of a special day for me. We celebrate our 300th episode of the Note Closure Show. It's kind of hard to believe that 150th podcast episode. We had 150 just pure Facebook live stream episodes before we went to the podcast. And actually, tomorrow marks the 300th episode. It's kind of mind-boggling. I mean, it's when we started November 1st of 2016. I didn't know if we'd get to 300, but we did, and we're going to keep rock and rolling. So thank you to all of you that listen, to all of you that share it, that download it, that comment. And we could not and would not do the show without you guys. So thank you so much for being a big part of that. All right. We do have some upcoming events. Want to make sure and bring up tonight. This Saturday is National Social Media Day. So question I have for you guys, is anybody planning on doing anything for National Social Media Day? Anybody plan on anything out there? Yes, no? They're like, what the hell is this? Great. Love seeing some of this stuff here. We are excited because we're doing a 27-hour live stream this Saturday. Myself, Christy Whites, Elijah Whites from Survey Social. And it's going to be a bit of a thing with about 40 different speakers. And so we're really looking forward to what that's going to kind of bring. We're looking for about 500,000 views on it over the next week as we have it. So that'll be exciting to have. And can't wait to share some of the great stuff that we have there as well with everybody. So comments here. I'm planning to listen to you all for about 27 hours. I don't expect you, but not for 27 hours. Exactly right, Laura. Let's see here. Who's come on, Q&A. What's the questions doing? All right. There we go. Stay tuned. All right. Bill Greersman's got something planned. Visiting Nashville, listening to lots of music. Well, Bob Bollinger, that's awesome. Good stuff. I'm just talking about what are you planning Are any of you guys planning to do anything literally to help promote your business on social media today? That's the whole idea. Hey, if you're going to go great to music and listen to, make sure you take some photos, Bob. Make sure you post, hey, here's what I'm doing. That's the whole thing. With the Quest $1 trillion mixer taking place in Houston on July 10th. I'll be a speaker there. I'm looking forward to that. There's virtual note buying workshop July 20th to the 22nd. That's definitely 3 days of how to find, fund, and flip some non-performing notes. July 23rd to 26th is the podcast movement in Philadelphia. I'm excited to be heading there. I'm going to have a very, very busy about 8 days. They're going from the workshop to the podcast movement and then going back across West Coast to Las Vegas for our first note boardroom of 2 days coaching with some great people out there. So then, of course, we have our next fast track training in Austin, August 3rd to the 4th and 5th. We had a great fast track weekend here with some great people. But the one thing is the next really big event that you want to look for is our August mastermind taking place in Dallas on the 23rd and 24th. And then we have our Quest Expo taking place 25th and 26th as well that we'll be a part of. And so if you have not bought tickets to Quest Expo, you'll want to do so now by going to questexpo.com and using the code WCN Expo to get 25% off. Okay. Some photos from this weekend. Just a great group of people coming in. Full fast track. Took them out to the Oasis there for some sun and margaritas. And of course, we hit down to 6th Street as well and had some fun and ran into a few pseudo celebrities down there having some fun. But most importantly, I'm excited at what everybody that comes to my fast track of where they're at and more importantly, where they're going. These guys are going to do a great job. Some have already closed quite a few deals. Eric Hyde already closed on 21 plus notes. Joe Tomko's taken down some, funded some. Joe Kennedy's taking down some from Wiley Greggs is a active real estate investor taking some things. And then, of course, Scott Brown, who's going to do a great job as well. Gail Villanueva's taking some deals as well, partnered up and joint venture with some other people. So really looking forward to what these guys and gals do between now and August. So kudos to them. I know some of them are on the call. So any questions before we dive into the content tonight? Yeah. Scott Brown will be somebody you watch. Yeah, exactly. He's definitely going to be someone to watch. Any questions, though, about any of the upcoming events? Anything else before we dive into the nuts and bolts of tonight? Okay? Nuts and bolts of tonight. All right. All right, so diving in here. You're hopefully due diligence for dummies. And like I said, I get questions all the time from people. And I don't mean they're dummy questions because they're just new questions for the most part, right? People asking, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? If you've never been, yes, exactly. If you've never been to a note investing workshop or you don't really know where to begin, then I understand that. Yes, Chad asked a question, register at questexpo.com. That's correct. Questexpo.com, or you go to questira.com and click on the links that forward you over there too as well. Okay. All right. You're welcome. So due diligence is really very important, but what I see a lot of people literally flipping out before they ever get to making a bid, or they end up really deleting a tremendous amount of notes from potential bids because they focus on too much due diligence on the front end. And I'm a big believer that due diligence is really kind of a 3-part process. Okay. Really a 3-part process. You've got the pre-bid, you have the post-bid, and then post-acceptance kind of aspect of things. Okay. And on the front end side, like I said, if you don't have a pen and paper, take it out, take some notes. You're going to definitely want to listen to this. Definitely going to be very, very important for you guys. All right. So you have the pre-bid. All right. And that's basically, obviously, you get your tape in, and then you kind of clean up your list a little bit to what you want to bid on and diving into. So your pre-bid is obviously about checking the value of the property compared to the UPB, the unpaid principal balance. And I'm a big believer, most of the time you're going to want the unpaid principal balance to be higher. They owe more than what the property is worth. Now, I'm talking just first liens here. I'm not going to dive into seconds tonight because I don't buy seconds. Okay? I only buy firsts. Now, the question here. So when online estimates, you jump online, take a look at Zillow, Truly, you get a rough idea what it's worth, but that is not your hard, fast value. You have to realize a lot of times you'll have time for due diligence to really get a hard, fast number on that asset, okay? You can always, but I mean, all you really need to begin with is just get a quick valuation online. Get a bid in, especially this is if your asset manager, the banks aren't giving you a BPO within the last 90 days. This is assuming, hey, you got a big list and you've got, a couple days to get a bid in, all right? You're not going to have time to do all the stuff on the front end. And I see people that never get a bid in because they're too busy running over and making sure everything is right before they ever get the bid in, and then they submit a bid in and that deal's been sold. Talked to an investor last week who was getting frustrated because they could not find, they get a tape of 500 or 100, they identify 3, do all the due diligence on 3, make a bid. Well, by 4 days goes by, those are already under contract with somebody else. So that's the whole idea is quick. Let's do some quick valuations, quick online estimate. You may want to use Note Pros to help you out with some of the stuff to give you a high and a low real fast. Because literally they can run the whole spreadsheet in literally seconds. So if you go to notepros.com/Scott Carson, there's a special offer that they're running for our students out there if you're interested in signing up for it. So checking taxes owed. Where do I find taxes owed? Well, you go to the local county website, and we'll call that the easiest one to find all the county websites is netraonline.com. Netraonline.com. Boom, you go there, you pick the state, the county, and then you're checking taxes at the county assessor's website, see what's owed and what the annual taxes are owed, okay? Look at the size and location. Like I say, if you see that it's under like 900 square feet or it's a really small house, probably not worth wasting your time on. If you see it's out in the boonies from mapping it really fast, or it's in a very small city of like less than 10,000 people, or it's on the outskirts of a big city but out like county roads, go ahead and just delete that. All right? Those are important things. You see it's near a toxic waste dump, okay? From like batchgeo.com for mapping it. Just kill it, okay? One of the things that you want to do when you're buying a non-performing note is the bank should have given you a list with the borrower's name. That's important for due diligence because you want to see if the borrower's name matches up on the county records as the owner's name. Now, if it doesn't match up, let's use a red flag. Now, if you're looking at contract for deeds, guys and gals, the owner of the property will often be, it'll be the seller. Like we buy a lot from Harbor Portfolio contract for deeds. And the borrower who's on the contract for deed isn't listed as the owner, it's listed at Harbor Portfolio, okay? But on a note deal, obviously you want to make sure that if it says Scott Brown is the borrower, Scott Brown is on the assessor's website as that. If it's just somebody else's name, like I said, you want to do a little bit further digging to make sure it hadn't gone to tax sale or is wiped out, okay? Or you don't want to waste your time with a bid at that point. But those are things that can literally be done in just seconds, okay? And then you want to figure out your pre-exit strategy. Now, if you've got if the seller's given you a rough pricing guideline, you want to look at what they say versus the value we find. Now, if they say, oh, I want 60 cents of UPB, and say unpaid balance is 100, and so that means they want 60K. Well, you want to make damn sure that the rough value of the house is going to be well over probably 120K. I don't like to go below 50% of fair market value when I'm buying, okay? I want to be below 50% if I can, unless, of course, it's in a faster foreclosure state like Texas or North Carolina or Missouri or Georgia, where if it's fast foreclosure, okay, I may go up to 60s, up to 70 at the highest, okay? Probably not going to go through 70, though, okay? But kind of take a look at pre-exit strategy. Hey, is it occupied? Does it look like it's occupied really fast? Does the photos look decent? Okay, great. It looks decent. And then the rent rates, I don't know if I left rent rates on here or not. May not have. Looking at the rent-o-meter as well. I'll run my pre-exit strategy, preferably to reinstate. I'll run a formula all the way down that spreadsheet, the kind of reinstatement numbers. And what I'm doing with that, taking the existing P&I, divide that by 12, or multiply it times 12, divide that by the rough price estimate, okay? Modification, how much more is rent compared to the principal and interest payment? So if their principal and interest payment is $450 a month, but rent's $800, okay, market rent, they should be out paying almost double. Hey, they give you some room, say, okay, let's add $100 to their payment to get them caught back up, or $200 a month to the payment. Or I'm going to want them to bring $1,000 or $2,000 to the table, okay? And of course, deed in lieu foreclosure, I kind of roll that into the same. But those are the 3 basic strategies that I'm looking at initially from running some numbers on a spreadsheet to really kind of help me out with that. All right. Just that's quick pre-bid stuff. This should not take you long at all. Should only take you a few minutes per asset. Okay. Because it's not hard to jump on ePraisal, Zillow, Trulia. And let me say this again. They are not hard, fast numbers. Okay. You're still going to have a realtor drive by once you've gotten the bid accepted or the bid counter. You're not going to waste time putting 100 realtors out to look at 100 properties when you don't even have the bid accepted yet. All right. Does that make sense? Are there any questions before we go on to the next kind of second phase of due diligence? And honestly, guys, if you've got a couple assets that you're kind of wanting something to look at, we'll open it up to make those available for me to jump on and kind of walk you through some of that stuff tonight. We'll only do a couple. All right. But we'll do that once we go through some of the stuff. Okay. So just Vitaly, let's, I'm not going to answer your question right now. Okay, bud, cancel because the fact is keep your questions relevant to where we're at. Okay. Please keep your questions relevant to where we're at. Okay, Vitaly. All right. And I'll tell you my philosophy. There are plenty of new note investors out there. There's plenty of inventory. There's plenty of deals to go around. And in the next 5 years, we're going to see a massive change take place. There's plenty of inventory. So whether you like it or not, just keep your question. If you keep the comments related to the questions asked, okay? Thanks. All right. So there's no other questions. We'll move on now. So after you kind of do your pre-bid, then you go to your post-bid. Now, what I like to, this is once I've submitted my bid, I like to get my staff, or we'll do a little bit of, as I like to say, Facebook stalking. Pull up the borrower in Facebook we can, or LinkedIn, you know, seeing, all right, seeing what they're doing. See if we can't find them on Facebook. Are they working? Can we tell who they work with? You know, I'll give you an example. If your borrower says they're like a Dollar General store attendant or cashier, you can really Google really fast to see what Dollar General, Dollar Store manager makes or cashier makes, okay? You can often find and see if they have photos from in front of the property. We've used that before, okay? We found it where one of our borrowers was a professor at the University of Missouri, okay? Or someone that was going through a transition. Cody Cox says, I just did the Facebook stalking last week on a CFD, and we are reinstating the account. That's freaking awesome. And, you know, we have found it when a borrower said, oh, I bought a new car. Oh, you bought a new car. Well, I guess you can start making your mortgage payment, right? Or another borrower says, well, we're going to either pay our mortgage or go to Disneyland. Well, we know what you chose, okay? I'll jump on whitepages.com or spokio.com too. They used to allow you to have a free account. I've had an account with White Pages forever. So if you've got to pay for it, it's worth jumping on there because you'll get all sorts of information. If you do either a borrower search, pull up their address, which will often give phone numbers, or you do a reverse address search where you type in the address and it pulls up the person's name. It also often gives who they're living with, family information, phone numbers, really great stuff to use. Why? Well, to use once you buy a note to track down the borrower for right party contact, to see if the phone number is working at the house. I'll do that. If people have been through my fast track training, been through my virtual workshop before, you see me literally picking the phone up and calling that number to see if it's active. Heck, on 2 years ago, I did one of those on a note night, and the borrower called me back that evening and was able to negotiate a loan amount about a month later. I was just calling to see if it was a working number. All right. Like I said, phone numbers, relatives, places else they've lived, any other property they might have in the area too is also as well. Okay. Now we'll also be all doing at the post bid is we're also, hey, let's find out the utility departments. Let's call the city. Let's check out, see if the water's on, the gas is on, the power is on. Now getting the power is a little bit more difficult, but the water and gas is pretty relatively easy at each city. And here's the big kicker. You call representing the bank. Hey, I'm the bank. I'm calling to find out if anything is owed, if there's a balance, if it's on or it's getting ready to get shut off. Okay. A lot of times you'll get that information very easily. All right. It tells you, oh no, water's been turned off that thing for a year. Okay. It's no longer an occupied asset. Okay, well, let's take that back. Could have a hoarder living in it, I guess. But you call representing and say, hey, I am the bank on this property, trying to see if the power is on, trying to see if gas is on, trying to see if there's a balance. Okay, are they on time? Now, the thing is, if they're on time, great, and there's no balance, awesome. You know, the great thing you can use that, I'm calling to see if Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if that's the borrower's name, if they have a balance, I represent the bank, we're getting ready to foreclose on. Okay, just trying to help. Say you're with the bank. Okay, another important thing is checking the crime map. Okay, you might want to do this on the front end. You know, but it depends on the area. I check the crime maps, you know, to make sure there's not a lot of sex offenders in the area, making sure there's not like massive homicides around the area. You know, I'm fine with some break-ins or you know, speeding tickets or things like that for the most part. But I want to make sure it's on the lighter side, not the darker side on the crime map. Does that make sense, everybody? All right. Obviously, check rent rates. This is an important thing. We talked a little about that earlier on. Now, if rent, one of the big things I look at, if it's a rent rate on a property is less than $500 a month, I kill it. It's in too big of a hood area or too remote. So if it's less than $500 a month rent rate, that's one sign I need to probably go ahead and kill this bid. That's not saying you can't make money on areas in the south side of Detroit or south side of Columbus or parts of Chicago. It's just that you have to expect to go in like an armored truck or a bulletproof vest, or it's a, as some of my friends would say, it's a 2AK area. All right. The rent rates, it's good for two reasons. One, okay, market rent rate should be higher. It's a lot higher. So that's the motivation to get your reinstate. Okay. I'm not going to play this. Oh, I can't afford. Well, if you can't afford me, you can't afford to live in the area. You're going to have to look at moving out. Okay. Use that as a bargaining chip with you, especially when you see what they're doing on Facebook. Okay. Now, once the bid comes back accepted, then you've really got some stuff to work on. We got to look like we had a commenter question. Journey like the south side of Detroit. Yeah, not all bad. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Scott. You're right. There's not all bad areas of Detroit. Let's just say south of 8 Mile Road. Let's just put it that, okay? All right. You get what I'm talking about. Rougher parts. Every city has a rougher part. Even Austin has a rougher part of the area here, okay? Question here. What are the most contract for dead? Look, Michael, no offense, bud. Let's stick on track, buddy. That's a question for later on, okay? Keep your questions relevant to what we're talking about. Your questions about due diligence, great, but not anything else because it just distracts from everything. I just didn't delete your question, okay? Well, you can always ask those later on. So, bid acceptance on these. You get the seller comes back and says, okay, I accept your bid or you counter your bid. Now, the thing, let's say before acceptance, let's say they counter. The more due diligence you've done prior to them coming back and accepting, the better it is for you. I see people all the time, but they're like, well, I don't know the value of the property. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know the value of property? Have you at least looked online? Have you done some of that work? You've had 2 weeks. And if you've had 2 weeks, you probably need to reach out to a realtor, okay? That's the most important thing you can do. All right. Now, if they came back relatively quickly, you obviously haven't had time, but you got to literally get a realtor, go out and take a look at it. Once you get a phone call or an email that they've accepted your bid or accepted some of your bids, because hopefully you're bidding in 10, 12 at a time. We've accepted these 3, we've counted these 9, boom. Get your ass on the phone. Start calling realtors or go to a nationwide BPO company to use. But I like realtor drive-bys better. That way they can drive by, see the asset, and they can come back with a true comparative market analysis, true CMA for me. And I want to see the solds, the pendings, and the ones that are listed in the area and how long they've been listed for. Okay? Now, if the numbers come back good for your stuff, and there's 2 things. People goof up a lot because they'll ask often for a 30-day quick sale price. And there's nothing wrong with asking for that. That's your motivated, hey, I got to sell this thing quick number. But there's a difference between a 30-day quick sale price and then listing it and just selling it on the MLS. I think we can all agree to that. Okay. So the property came back at 28,000 a quick sale price. Okay. But what's a 90-day price? Oh, 90-day price is 80. Okay. So just expect it. It's going to take you 90 days to get it sold. Is it in good condition? Is it bad condition? Those are all important questions that you have to ask with your realtor and getting photos. All right. Is there a wall missing on the one side where Superman went through? Does it have a sunroof or a sky roof, moonroof when it shouldn't? Okay. Those are one of the most important things is you're getting more information from that realtor than anything else. Okay. You want property photos. Of course, you would have looking online. One of the smart things to do, and I'll talk about this in a minute, is if you see a picture online, it looks like a good picture, and is a relatively new photo. We're talking like in the year 2018 or late 2017 line. Save that photo. You'll be able to use that for marketing a little bit. But you still want a realtor or somebody to drive by the photo, take some photos for you so you can see the accuracy. Obviously, hopefully the seller at this point, once they've either accepted your bid or gave it to you on the front end, they've given you the collateral documents, the loan documents, okay? A copy, not going to be a hard file, the electronic files. Inside that, there are going to be assignments and allonges. You're going to want to review that, deed of trust, mortgage, and hopefully you've got the original loan documents on there, the loan documents that went in origination, because there's so much information in there, especially if you find out where they worked when the loan went out, how much they were making, what's their job title, do they have any retirement accounts, they've owned real estate. Loan documents, while they're not required for you to be able to close, they're very, very valuable to help you out with seeing, hey, what the hell happened? Okay. Now, another thing that's also nice to get is the servicing notes if you can. Sometimes the sellers will provide that, others they won't. Okay. But those things are the ones you want to look at inside the collateral view. If you don't have the time to do that, hire somebody to jump on that and take a look at for you. Whether it's Madison Management doing it in a collateral file or another source is doing that for you. Okay. Now, one thing that's also important, if this is if it's a foreclosure file and you can see that, let's say, the seller says it's going to foreclosure. It's not going to be a mod foreclosure process. You want to talk to the foreclosure attorney. It's part of your due diligence. Asking the seller, okay, who's the foreclosure attorney? I'm going to call to verify timeframes. Okay. Well, Laura, exactly. If your electronic files are empty, that should have been a flag for you to reach out and say, hey, there's nothing in here. Okay. I'm not talking about hard files. I'm talking about electronic files. Okay. So if your electronic files that you got are empty, that should be a red flag that you need to say, hey, do you have the actual copy of this? I'm not going to fund on this deal till you find the copy of the collateral file. Now, if there is something electronic file, but the hard file shows up and it's vacant, I would agree to that. Okay. Yes, we did. All right, good. Good stuff. All right. But talk to the attorney, just have an email introduction, call up the attorney and say, hey, getting ready to buy this from Scott or getting ready to buy this from such and such. Can you give me a breakdown on where we at in the foreclosure time frame? How much time is left? Is it started? What's the, is it going to be, has the borrower showed up? All that good stuff. Not hard to do. Okay. You also, once you get a bid accepted, you want to order an O&E report immediately. Now, what is an O&E report? It's an ownership and encumbrance report. And the best company to get that from is our buddy Alex Godofsky from Pro Title USA. And for those of you, we've had him on in the podcast before. If you're a part of the WCN crew, you would have gotten a copy of his book, or it's on its way to being mailed to you right now. It should be in your inbox. Most people are getting them over the weekend. But got a great book. Great book to read on title for you to help you out with some stuff. So, but O&E report, $85, $90. It's not a full title report. It's a title update for the most part. You may want to go back to owners on that aspect. You may want to listen to Alex's discussion on Note Camp 5.0 that's on the podcast. He did a great job going through some of the things to look for. But get on the phone, talk to them over at Pro Title USA. They can often help you at that and see what's encumbering the property. Chris asked a good question. How long in the foreclosure process do you not buy the note? Well, it depends. If they're selling to you at roughly 70 cents on the dollar, it should be near the REO side. Like in Florida, South Carolina, it's a year-long plus to foreclose. You want to make sure if you're paying 65, 70 cents, it's close to foreclosure. Now, if it's just starting at, you're not going to pay REO price, so keep that in mind. Okay. Like I said, on the O&E report, it'll also tell you other liens and judgments, and then other encumbrances you want to take a look at. Make sure there's nothing going to tie you up. Do not be scared if you see an IRA judgment or a tax lien against the borrower on the property. You can get that removed relatively quickly. Okay. The book I just mentioned is, I got a copy of it here. Bulletproof. Stuff's falling off my bookshelf here. Bulletproof Due Diligence. Bulletproof Title Due Diligence with Alex Godofsky. Great book to read. Well worth it. All right. Like $19.95, I think, on Amazon. Okay. All right. Well worth it. That's correct. Andrew, thank you for saying that. I believe ProTitle will also do a township search for utility liens. Yep, it's important to do a search for utility liens. Exactly. All right. Lisa says, just got that book. Known Alex a long time, and he is the best. I would totally agree with that, Lisa. He is the best at what he does in his industry. That's why they're such a trusted partner of ours. And they just great job. So once you've got this, now the thing is, once you're good with property values, okay, this is one thing to keep in mind, especially if you're brand new. You may know this. You've been on notes for the first time. If you see something on title that's going to stop your foreclosure, you see something on the property value where it's trashed out or it's not worth what the seller is telling you it is. And never, 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 ever trust a seller's BPO, okay? Never, ever trust a seller's BPO. Why? Because they're always going to look at the shiny side. There are some sellers out there, you pull up their collateral documents, they've run 3 BPOs and they're going with the highest and best, which is not what you want to do. Okay. So always run your own numbers and then share that stuff. I mean, if you're going to counter back the seller, feel free to share it. Hey, here's the numbers that we found. Here's what our realtor told us compared to what you value it at. Or, hey, there's this stuff missing in the collateral file. Can you verify that it's there? Or here's our O&E report that's talking about that. Can you see that there's this big problem with a lien from the city or sewer things, lien, stuff like that? That needs to be cleared up. Okay. Use that information that you've done. Use the work to help you counter back, to help you with if you've got to fade your bid. Okay. All right. Now it's up to the sellers if they accept it or don't accept it. Someone accepted, so then fine. That's fine. They won't counter, won't fade, agree to your fade. Just walk away. Walk away. All right. Or maybe you can counter somewhere in between. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid to ask for a bit of a discount. What's the worst thing you're going to say? No. Now, one big thing, I can tell you this right now. Don't be one of these idiots out there. And this is a true idiot play where you just submit lowball bids. You're scared shitless. You couldn't pass gas if you needed to. And you submit lowball bids. Your numbers come in for a pretty decent return at 15. You're like, oh, I'm scared. I'm just going to make an offer at 7. Don't do that. You're only wasting your time because nobody's going to accept your bid. You're never going to get a response back. All right? Never going to get a response back. Okay? I've often said that you want the BP. Bruce asked a question. Scott, you've often said that you want to make sure that the UPB should be greater than the BPO or the homeowner will fight you for the equity. Do you mean that they will hire an attorney, declare bankruptcy, et cetera? That's exactly what I'm talking about, Bruce. If they owe 50 grand, the house is worth 100, of course they're going to fight you for that equity. They're going to drag it out. Okay? So yes, declare bankruptcy. You want to listen to a really good podcast, listen to the one we did last week with Yesner Law, last Tuesday with Sean Lee Yesner from the Yesner Law out of Florida. He had some great things to talk about bankruptcy and things like that. Go listen to that podcast. You won't be disappointed. Okay? But yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. What would you do? If you only owed 60 grand on your $120,000 property, you're going to fight to keep that. Okay? You're going to fight to keep that. So keep that in mind. Okay? Let's see here. Sylvia, you mentioned doing your ROI pre-bid, but you've also talked about it in the past that you also run a more detailed ROI, including possible expenses. At what point do you do this? And do this on a large number of loans? Great question, Sylvia. Great question. Okay. Once you've gone through this stuff here, that's where you definitely want to make sure your ROI makes sense. Okay. You want to go back to your ROI calculator, your rough calculator, and run the numbers. Like I said, I like to throw in somewhere between $2,500 and $5,000 for foreclosure. If it's in a longer year-long foreclosure state, $5 grand. If it's less than 6 months, maybe $2 grand. If it's somewhere between 3 and 9 months, 3 and 12 months, $3,500. Talk to your local attorneys, find out what the costs roughly are. Okay. But you have to realize if you're buying 10 assets, probably not all 10 are going to go to foreclosure. Probably 4 to 5 will. The other 4 to 5 will probably get deed in lieu, cash for keys, get reperforming, something like that as well. Okay? Where people goof up on is they look at one asset and their ROI calculator has every possible potential crazy ass fee on there, and no deal ever makes sense. Oh my God, I got the worst case scenario. Well, that worst case scenario you have, that doomsday, is not going to happen most of the time. And now you just killed all your deals because you're being over analytical. And I hate to say this, no offense to my engineering friends, this happens pretty often with their engineers. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a good ROI calculator. Just keep in mind, you don't want to have like double fees. And if you look at some things, I know a lot of people have a hard time taking a look at common sense things, like what's the bar going to do? Well, rent rate's 5, your rent rate's 800, mortgage payment is 399. They need to reinstate. It's pretty simple. When it comes down to it, don't listen to the country western song all the time. Like, listen, if you want to stay, you no pay, you no stay. Okay? You no pay, you no stay. Just had a great idea. Boom, shakalaka. That's what we're gonna do. Coming to a t-shirt near you. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at, guys, yes, go back to your ROI, tweak it down a little bit, take a look at it, share it with a friend, share it with somebody else who's a note investor, see if they're right on track with it, especially if you're brand new. Okay? Especially if you're brand new. But listen, if you're picking up assets below 50% of true value, you've got plenty of room there for almost everything, provided it's occupied. Now, like I said, guys and gals, I don't like to buy a lot of vacant assets. I will in some situations, especially if it's appreciating markets. But on the lower value stuff, 50 grand or less, I don't want to buy vacant properties for the most part. Usually they've been vandalized. Usually the AC has walked off or the copper goblins have showed up. Okay. One thing you also be careful of too is if you're buying a note, not a contract for deed, but a note in states like Minnesota or Alabama, you've got a year-long redemption period on those assets. Now, yes, could you potentially get the borrower to sign a redemption rights? Yes, you can. Just don't count on it. Okay. All right. One thing you don't see in here me talking about a thing is hardest hit funds. Okay. I don't waste my time just bidding on assets that are in hardest hit funds. That is not my exit strategy. If that happens, great. It's probably not going to happen. Okay. So keep that in mind. Moving on. So what about raising capital for your deals? Because, okay, so this question is like, whoa, well, what about if I don't have enough money to buy these 10 assets I'm making bids on? Okay, you're probably not going to have all of them get accepted. Okay, and if you do the right thing where you start sharing your marketing, sharing what you're doing to your audience, your tribe, your Facebook audience, your LinkedIn, your email about what you're doing, you won't have trouble raising capital because you get the word out on what you're doing. Okay, so pull your info. Keep this in mind as you're doing due diligence. Pull the info to market at the same time. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you find a nice picture of the property online, or you find an old listing, old rental that's got interior photos of the property, save that. Okay. Photos, sell the sizzle. Okay. One of the things I like to do was when I would find condos, I'm buying a condo, maybe not see my unit, I would find a similar unit with the same square footage so I get an idea what the floor plan is and would save those photos. That would help me out dramatically. Okay. Or an old listing, I would see that a property was previously rehabbed or was up for rental. Okay, great, awesome. Maybe they are renting it out. Maybe they're renting $800 a month and they're not paying their $499 mortgage. Okay. But photos will sell the sizzle. Okay. Take a little time. You know, if you don't find a decent photo, but you only find something in Google Street View, take a few minutes to move your cursor around and print screen it and save that screen, at least something to talk about what you're doing. If you're going to post the asset, hey, I'm working on a deal, have a good photo. A photo is worth so much in people taking a look at it. We have such a low attention span, a short attention span. You got to sell the sizzle. Hey, here's a great deal that we're working on. Another thing with the sizzle. If you're buying this at truly a lower percentage of fair market value or low UPB, okay, that's a deal. If you're buying something at really 60 or 70% of value, it's not really a deal. It's a dud. Okay, look at what percent you're buying it at, and then roll with or just move on to the next one. If it's a dud, kill it, move on to the next one. There's plenty of inventory out there, okay? And look at your exit strategy and look at your time frame, okay? If there's 100 days on market, it's because it's in LaGrange, Texas, you're not going to sell it in 30 days, okay? So also, if you're going to get it reperforming, you got to look at that strategy being at least 12 to 18 months. I'm going to get it reperforming and sell the note off. Well, they're not going to reperform in 30 days usually. If they do, congratulations. You've got to take the time to realize that some of your workout costs, so servicing transfers, are going to take 30 to 60 days just to get the start, okay? And then the modification going back and forth, of the people making payments and flaking off, it's a process. Expect it to take 12 to 18 months. But keep that in mind. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing if it takes 12 to 18 months. Just make sure that you understand that and you're explaining, hey, this could be a great cash flow thing, okay? As I said earlier, the Borrower's Country song, this is important. Don't rely on the Borrower's Country Western song. Go ahead, start the foreclosure process. Start the legal action, okay? Start the legal action so that you are able to get this thing to foreclose, all right? Or it holds their feet to the fire, all right? But that's also an important thing to share in your marketing. Hey, the borrower is not responsible. We're going to foreclose on this. Legal's already started. They're halfway through a 9-month foreclosure process based on what the attorneys told me. Or we see it's a vacant property. It's in good condition. Here's the days on market, 90 days on market. Sells with the exact type of property. It's worth 90, okay? We're picking this up at 40 or 45,000, okay? 10 grand worth of work, we're still sitting in a good split position, okay? This comes down, and then the final thing, your realtors and vendors are really your most important key. Use that as your strength. So many investors out there are trying to do everything themselves, to talk about everything themselves. Just rely. Say, look, I got attorneys that handle that for me. I got a servicing company helping me out with it, okay? I've got a third-party SEAL team singer, all right? Going to help me out with the workouts. Going to help me with the reaching out to the borrowers. Okay, my realtor's a rock star. Okay, share that stuff. That helps you with the raising capital. All right, because you've got this stuff in place. Okay, and then again, one of the best ways to do say, hey, this is my expected ROI based on the numbers, and always, always, always go to the conservative side. Don't go crazy on it because people won't expect it'll be crazy. But say, hey, based on some of the previous stuff, we're looking at potentially could be this. Based on this, and this, what I found in due diligence, here's the hard fact. Here's what I expect to potentially see as an ROI. Okay? Questions? Now, if you've got a deal or two that you're working through and you want to jump on here and take a look at it, by all means, send in the question here, Q&A, chat roll, post in the address, and we'll dive onto it. We're only going to be looking at first liens, okay? What is my average ROI over your portfolio? It varies a little bit different, Scott, okay? It's roughly, like I said before, I don't really do something unless I'm going to see at least a 20 to 25% return on my side, okay? So my eyes are bleeding after seeing that coffee cup fight song. Oh, somebody must be an OU fan there, huh, Chad? Aggie, even worse. What loan servicer do you recommend? Somebody asked me, Michael says, I recommend Madison Management out of New Jersey. Great company. Shante Duffy does a great job over there. Okay. Great job over there with the whole team over there. Okay. This is my first webinar. Mandy asks, do you only buy non-performing notes? Yeah, I only buy non-performing notes and non-performing contract for deeds. I don't usually buy, I mean, I like buying non-performing stuff that I can convert to a performing note. Okay. I'm only buying institutional debt too. I'm not buying owner finance notes. Okay. The only time I buy an owner finance note is if it was originated with a true loan originator. All right. And, you know, there's full title pulled on it and everything like that. Okay. So if you guys have an address you want us to work through, some of you guys, I like to work through a live one versus through mine. Mike, let's stick to the point here, buddy. Okay. Well, you can drop me an email and I'll answer what states I'd like to buy contract for deeds in a later date. It's not right now. Okay. This is not a contract for deed webinar. This is a due diligence webinar. Okay. It's all about due diligence tonight, everybody. What questions do you have about due diligence? All right. So, Dan, thank you, sir. 2710 South Charleston Drive, Jackson, Mississippi, 39212. Okay. Is this a contract for deed or is it a true first lien non-performing, Dan? It's a CFD. Okay, that's fine. Contract for deed. All right. I will buy a lot of contract for deeds in most states except like Kentucky, New York, New Jersey, stuff like that. I don't buy them in Texas because you don't really see them in Texas here. I don't buy them in Florida. That's kind of my thing, but I buy a lot in Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, all that stuff. You just be careful. So let's dive into this here. All right. Stay focused here. Let me pull up Google. Oh, by the way, guys, like I talked about this earlier on, if you go to notepros.com/Scott Carson, this is a really easy thing to do. A lot of upfront due diligence for you. Really easy to do. Great stuff. It is not my product. It's just that JD and Fernando have done a really good job putting this thing together. A lot of people, but they get an opportunity for you to get a $1 trial at it today. And then I think it's $29 or $49 a month afterwards. Okay. Literally copy paste the spreadsheet in. Just don't need the zip codes or the addresses. Perfect. It's a great thing to go. All right. Moving on. Yeah. Bob, that's awesome. Good stuff, Bob. Kentucky. Why not Kentucky CFDs? Because they're a big pain in the ass to foreclose there. All right, Linda. All right, awesome. Moving on here. All right. So Mandy has some really good questions. Under due diligence, you said if the town is under 10,000 a pass, how about if it's near within 20 minutes of a town with 100,000? Okay, that's a yes, as long as it's not out in the boonies, Mandy. If it's near, like okay, I'll give you an example. I'm in Austin, Texas here. 20 minutes outside of here, it's some decent cities size. Okay, great, that's fine. But just as long as it's not on a county road or out in the boonies, all right? Keep that in mind. All right. Let's see here what Dan Deppen has. Okay, so Dan, what is the unpaid balance on your CFD? And Dan, if you want to, when I pull you up, and if you got your webcam, I wanted to pull you up there, and we'll talk live back and forth. How's that sound? Okay, so let me do this here real fast. Hang on, we'll get you added on here real fast. So, Dan, I'll bring you live, promote you to panelist. There he is. Hey, Dan, how's it going? You're muted, bud. Let's unmute you here real fast. Okay, who's this?
There we go. Can you hear me now?
I sure can. All right.
All right, cool.
So let me share my screen here, and we'll just walk through this real fast. Can you see my Google screen?
I can, yeah.
Okay. So everybody, this address is 2710 Charleston Drive in Jackson, Mississippi. So I just did a quick search is what I look for. So then I see the street view there. So I just click on this, everybody. What's owed on this, Dan?
Let me figure out how to minimize Zoom so I can
just hit escape and it'll do that. If you hit escape out there, it'll pull it up there for you. So while he's figuring it out, this, hey, not a bad looking little property, but this is just an old view of June 2014. But it looks like it's a nice little neighborhood. You know, hopefully it still looks like that. Now, one thing, if you look at the map, it often gives you a breakdown. So 2011, that's what it looked like. 2013, that's what it looked like. 2014 is what it looked like. When was your contract for deed originated?
I believe it was 2011.
Okay. All right. So originated back in 2011. Here's probably what they were driving.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not a bad, I mean, I would go pull up the current photo. I mean, it's still a 4-year-old photo. So we still need a realtor to take a look at it. But based on this, you know, if it's still, if it's still originated, and when was the last payment made, Dan?
Last payment was just a second.
It's all right. We're good.
Oh, there was actually one that posted in May. So
Okay.
they actually made 4 out of the last 5, but then it was pretty sparse before that.
Okay. So when I see something like that, and I don't know if you think the same thing too, but when I see somebody's made like 4 on-time payments, but they were sparsely between that, it kind of screams job loss or sickness. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the fact that somebody's made 4 payments out of the last 5 months, that's really somebody showing they really want to try to stay in the property. Okay. So, and then it's probably occupied because very rarely do people make payments 4 months in a row on a vacant property. Okay.
Yeah, and I've called the utilities already on this, so it should be occupied.
Okay. So, and then what did the utilities tell you?
They told me they owed a couple $100 on the water bill. And then on the electrical bill, she wouldn't tell me what they owed. She would just verify that it was on. But the way she talked, it sounded like they owed something there too.
Okay. Well, a couple $100 on water is not too bad. Did you ask if there was was it in danger of being turned off or not yet? You don't know.
I actually didn't ask them that.
Okay. That's fine. So anyway, going back here, great job on doing some due diligence. What I would do immediately, Control P. Let's just print that dang screen there. All right. Control P, because that's a good looking little photo of the property. Make sure you pull your cursor out of there. Print screen, save that photo, boom. Good stuff. So let's go back here and see what else we got here on our search here. Okay. 27 Charleston Drive. Oh, hang on here. Going back. Come on, Google. All right. So then what I always like to do is kind of scroll down the search engine to see if there's ever been a previous like listing for it to be sold. Okay. So I go down here. Hot pads. Okay. Was last available. Okay. So, all right. Oh, that's 2937. That's not our property. Sorry. I was about to say, oh, this doesn't look good.
That doesn't look good.
All right. It's 2704. So one thing you do, 2704 is listed right now. Let's just click on this one to see what's listed at, because that's a really nearby kind of comp. It's literally like 3 houses down. And how big is this? How big is your Charleston? How big is your property, square footage wise?
It is. Hold on a second. Hold on a minute.
Don't worry, I can roll up the Zillow here real fast.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do because I couldn't find where it written down.
So this one, your house is a 1,732 square foot house, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It says its estimate value is $74,000, which is I think is a little high, but that's okay. Now knowing that it's in Jackson, Mississippi, all right. One thing I would do is I would reach out if he wasn't on a cruise ship somewhere in the Caribbean right now. I would reach out to Walter Wolford.
Yeah, that explains why he didn't get back to me. Yeah.
Yeah, him and Bob Zachmeyer, Quincy Longer are somewhere. I think they're in a Mediterranean, 14-day Mediterranean cruise right now. All right.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. So, but I would still reach out. I think, this is where I think, hey, jump on the WCN crew. Hey, anybody have a realtor in Jackson, Mississippi? Scott Brown has been doing some stuff in Jackson, Mississippi. Might know somebody there to reach out to, which is great. So, but I would kind of assume, and I know assume makes an ass out of you, me both, but figure this is like a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, especially with being 1,732 square foot ranch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Zillow says 74. What's the unpaid balance on this one?
It was 46,708.
46,708. And do you want to share roughly what your bid is or what you're thinking about bidding?
Yeah. Let me. Where did I? That's weird. Hold on a minute.
Sorry, they're in the Greek Isles, not in the Mediterranean. They're being geeky in the Greeks. Okay.
Oh.
So
actually, I can't find it. It was like 40 something. It was like low mid 40s.
Okay, so that's the unpaid balance is like 42, 43.
Yeah.
So even if Zillow is off a little bit, this borrower's got some equity. Okay. So this is, especially with contract for deeds, this is a nice thing with contract for deeds. You can evict faster than having to foreclose if they're not making payments and stuff like that. in Mississippi specifically. So this is a great candidate, which is probably what's gonna end up happening is probably being a reinstatement. Essentially, they've made 5 payments or 4 payments in the last 5 months. Great. What's their P&I payment, Dan?
It is $424.
So it's not a bad principal interest payment, $424, because the market rent rates is probably $800 something. $424 times 12 months is $5,088. You said it was low 42. Let's just say 45 is the UPB. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 41.
Okay.
41% of UPB. Yeah.
That's fine. So we'll just say we took it at 50 cents of UPB. Divide that by, say, 20K. That's roughly a 25.44% return just based off them getting reinstated. Okay. Now, do you know the borrower's name by any chance?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Awesome.
Do you want it or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know the borrower's name, sure.
Yeah. So it's,
can you type it in there, so I'll just copy paste it in to make sure we don't goof up something.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Did you check taxes? Taxes up to date? Taxes paid up to date? Or are they a little behind?
I think on this one, they may have been a little behind. I've got a couple I'm working at the same time. Let me.
Okay. All right. So,
actually, no. The taxes are paid up on this one.
All right. Awesome. Is it a Harbor note? Is it a Harbor CFD or somebody else's CFD?
Yeah, it's a Harbor one.
Okay. So the county records show Harbor being on it?
Will it have been sold since then, so it shows somebody else,
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. So James McDonald Sr., let's go type it in there. And then I always like to go down here and change the location. Okay. Mississippi. Okay. James C. McDonald Sr. Checked in at Watson Quality Fold. He's at the Piccadilly restaurant. Let's see if this is our guy. I don't know if that looks like a senior. It's more like a junior, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. But he's a LeBron James fan. Sorry, bud. All right. Heidelberg High School, say Jackson State, works at J&M Trucking. So worked at J&M Trucking. So when you click on J&M Trucking, now you've potentially got a phone number here to call to see if he's working there still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that may have been why maybe it was sporadic. Maybe he got laid off. Who knows? So there's a let's see, a phone number for them here. All right. About photos, posts. All right, so you maybe just got to do a search for now J&M Trucking in Jackson, Mississippi. Bill Griesmer said he'd buy it for me because the guy's a Cavs fan.
Yeah.
All right. So truckers usually make pretty good money for the most part. So let's take a look back here. So let's go back to let's do White Pages. See what White Pages pulls up for us. Okay. All right. So it is. I'd like to do the reverse address first. So 27 Charleston. Is that right?
South Charleston. Yeah.
South Charleston. In Jackson, Mississippi.
Yep.
Just search. All right. James E. McDonald. All right. Was that the same name that you quoted me?
No, it was actually James C. McDonald Sr.
Okay. Well, that's a possibility. I like the last name matches up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I click on there, all right. Am I logged in? I want to make sure if I'm logged in or not. I'm not logged in here, so hang on. It probably will give me the name and number when I log in. All right, let's try this again. 27 South Charleston, Jackson, Mississippi. James C. McDonald is right there, age 46. Maybe that could be our guy driving the truck. 46. Let's see what it says on here. Age 46. Oh, now it wants to charge you. Okay. Anyway. So let's see if we go back here. Copy that. Let's go back to Google here. Old MacDonald had a farm. Charleston, it's in Charleston, South Carolina. That's not what we want. Jackson, Mississippi. No, so that's okay. But you still, I think we know that the address matches up, which is great. Let's go back one more time and let's go look on Facebook. Or actually, let's go to LinkedIn and take a look. Because as you get people in their 40s and 50s, oftentimes, if they're working, they'll have a profile. You know what I mean? A working profile. So James, let's see here. James McDonald. Let me remove some stuff here. I didn't change my location here. Come on. Apply. No results found, so it doesn't have a LinkedIn profile. But so it was J&D Trucking, wasn't it?
J&M Trucking, I think.
Yeah. J&M Trucking, that's right. Okay. Jim was Brandon, Mississippi Trucking, M&J, JM Tank Lines. So we'll click on here. Quick Transport. Brandon, Mississippi, that might be it. So 601-212-2895. That'd be worth just having for the heck of it and checking that out. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. So Sylvia's question, did you say you do not like NPNs with equity? See the value in Bill's note, but did you say to get this, you could get this at 50% EP? Yeah, usually this is non-performing. Oftentimes, I'm not going to go off 50%. I'm going to stick to that 50% of UPB. And that's my initial offering on that stuff. So that's the thing to keep in mind. This is probably going to reinstate because there's that equity. I'm not going to go – I wouldn't go below 50 of UPB because it'd really be too low ball an offering based on that equity side of that, especially with this being a contract for deed. Contract for deeds, you're likely to evict more so than foreclose. So it's a different story. It works in our favor to really work with the borrowers on this. And that's kind of what you're thinking. Is that right, Dan?
Pretty much. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So cool. Good stuff there. All right. So you check taxes. Taxes were paid up to date. What else? Am I missing anything else on this stuff initially? Have you looked at the collateral file yet, or are you just in the process of bidding?
Yeah, and Joel Markovitz has reviewed that, and that's all checked out. The only thing I'm waiting for is a BPO from Sandcastle in the pictures, which I should have. I thought I'd have it today, so hopefully tomorrow. And if that all checks out, then I should be good to go.
There you go. And see, Mandy says, sounds like a self-employed person. I totally agree to that, Mandy. He sounds like he's an entrepreneur of some sort. Hey, let's get, I think if you can get this at 20 something, it's a deal. Scott Brown says, I got a list of CFDs that I got today, non-performing, all have payments under 500. So pass on all of these, right? No. What I said, Scott, because Scott went through our fast track, I said, if you see a property where the rent rate is below 500, that's what you probably want to pass on. See if the contract for deed is something I would not pass it at 500. Okay. Do I typically pay more for CFDs versus regular non-performing notes? No. I usually pay less for CFDs, but you have to keep in mind if there's a lot of equity, I'm going to go up to about 50%. Where if it was a true, say the value was 40, then I wouldn't bid more than probably 16. But that the values in the probably 70s or 60s on this is why I'm going to go up a little bit because there's an equity in the back end side. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm getting this one for under 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo! Hang on a second. Ding, 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 baby.
Yeah.
Hey, virtual high five.
Thanks. Yeah.
Good. Christina Flores says she found a phone number for him. That's awesome. Send it over to Dan.
Yeah.
Okay, got it now. Chris Montgomery says, okay, cool. But guys, just think about it. Are you using your own funds? Or you're going to raise capital for this one, Dan?
So I'm going to raise capital for this one. I mean, I've got my own funds to cover it, but yeah, I'm looking for funding for this.
Even if you fund with your own funds, so you got it ready to be arbitraged out to pull that stuff out, right? So
Yep.
let's talk about this. So you're picking this up at less than 20. You have it under contract already?
It's not under contract yet, but I've got the bid accepted, and I just went back and forth with the seller earlier today.
All right. So question, you want to share what your final number is?
Yeah, it was 19.
19, okay. And what was the monthly mortgage payment on this again? It was 424, is that right?
424, yeah.
Times 12 equals 508 divided by 19. That boy. That's a 27% yield based on if they get reinstating. Now let's talk about you got a great picture of the property. You know where the person's working. Collateral is clean. Taxes are paid. Utilities may have a little bit of a statement, but that could be just a rolling 30-day thing. Somebody's lived there for at least 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they got 30 grand in equity, potentially, based on what the realtor says. So that you shouldn't have a problem finding a JV partner on that. Because, hey, if they don't pay, you've got 40 grand of equity to take back. If they do pay, great, you're making a 27% return. You're going to probably ask for them to pay a little bit extra to get caught back up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know how many total months behind they're for? Do you see when the last
due or the
the next due. Next due.
Or next due, I mean.
Yep.
Hold on. Let me get a search. First due. Next due is February 17.
Oh, so there's still a year behind.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's 14 months behind.
16.
Okay.
Yeah.
16 months behind. Okay. 16 times 4, 400. So he's basically about 6 grand behind. So let's say you do 420. Let's say you make it 624 because it's still below what market rent is times 12. 7488 divided by 19. Yeah. I mean, that's almost a 40% yield if you're going to pay $200 extra a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love hearing about it. Good job, man. It's a home run. You're hitting out of the park on that one, Dan.
Thanks.
Good job. Got any questions for Dan before we let him go on this one? What kind of ROI do I look for on a CFD? I don't really want to be below 24% because if I'm splitting cash flows with an investor, I want to be at least at 25%. So we're at least seeing both 12% roughly. Okay, Sylvia? And let's see other questions here. So where would someone find investor help with this? That's a great question, Mandy. Awesome. So basically post it. Hey, you post it to your LinkedIn, do an email blast at your database, do a post to your Facebook profile, do a post to your groups you're part of, whether it's the WCN crew or other groups you're part of. You know, Dan could probably find somebody in the Denver area who's looking to invest in something by posting in a meetup group or two, right, Dan?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So have you done anything on this? Or you've done some capital raising, some of the other deals. Where's anything else?
Yeah, I have on this one. I sent an email to my preferred investor list.
Yep.
I'm having a phone call with somebody tomorrow. There's been a little activity. I haven't gone crazy with blasting it everywhere yet, just because I've been waiting for the BPO to come in, and the doc review didn't get finalized till today because I need to go back and get some other documents for them. So I just been kind of waiting for everything to settle out a little bit.
Okay. Now, would you mind if somebody's interested on here tonight, if they reached out to you to potentially fund this deal?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me at dan@fusionnotes.com or 720-988-8024.
So why don't you do yourself a favor and type those into the chat roll, and you can buy me a steak
right.
next time you see me in Dallas. All right.
I'll do that.
Gotta love it. Good stuff, man. Dan at fusionnotes.com, or you go fusionnotes.com anyways, your website too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Good stuff, man.
All right.
Hey, you gotta let me know how many people respond to you tonight on that, all right?
I will. No problem. All
Good
right.
stuff. Good stuff. So any other questions about that kind of deal from Dan? We'll get him on the phone here. Scott Brown, how did you find the CFD? You just got a list from somebody, didn't you?
Yep, exactly.
He got a list from the same people you would probably gotten a list from as well, Scott Brown. Scott Brown's new to the mastermind. Just went through the fast track this last weekend. And Dan, you went through the fast track. What,
February.
When February?
Yep.
February. Yep. Awesome. And you already closed. You had closed a few deals before we're done. How many deals have you closed so far?
Yeah, I closed a couple before. I closed 10 total so far.
Yeah, man.
He's accepted on 3, so I've actually got this one and 2 others that'll be closing on, hopefully like on Friday.
Congrats, man. Very proud.
Thanks.
Good job. Good job. So, all right, man. Well, hey, I'm gonna let you get back to your evening. All right, sir. Thanks for jumping in here and being a part of it here. All right, so let me go on here. Like I said, there's this information is there, everybody, for you to reach out to if you're interested, and we'll keep me abreast of what's going on with that. All right.
All right.
Good stuff. All right, change role to attendee. All right, guys. That I think it's a great thing. The thing is, look, we don't have to do a lot of upfront due diligence. Now, obviously, Dan said that, hey, he's already reviewed the collateral and reviewed that stuff, which is great. But based on just the information, and then, when we found a line, I would have made an offer on this. Because you're going to know the UPB. You're going to know when the monthly P&I payment is. You're going to know when the last payment was made. You're going to see that, they made 4 payments in the last 6 months. That's a good sign, all right? Anytime that, 42, well, I'm probably going to offer around 20, like we said, 2021. You got it at 19, which are right on track. But that market rent rate is 800. If its value is 70s and the unpaid is 40, that's a good sign that, hey, borrower wants to probably stay in their property. So we're not going to look to foreclose. That's going to be a hit it out of the park, modification, reinstatement, and get flexible with the last 16 months of payments because somebody has been paying on time recently. Okay. All right. I will make my slides available. I'll throw them up on SlideShare once we get off the call tonight with you guys. So it's there for you to be able you just look for Scott A. Carson or Scott Carson on slideshare.net. Okay. I have my moments, Steve. I have my moments. All right. So guys, that's all I've got for you tonight. I just thought we'd go through that one. That was perfect. Dan did a great job jumping on there. And we'll wrap it up for the night for you guys. So hopefully this was valuable for you. Let me stop my share here. Guys, it's not hard finding deals. Dan's reaching out. Other people are reaching out. Okay. There are still plenty of deals out there. Now, Vitaly asked a question, why would I want to bring 10,000 note investors into here with the market being like that? Because we are going to see another downfall in the economy. We're going to see another huge change, and there's still going to be plenty of inventory that's being created right now. It doesn't mean everybody sticks to the game. Not everybody sticks to the game. People come in and they flake off. But they're too busy running around doing a multitude of other things. So that's my big belief. That's what I see. Hey, if we can help 10,000 people become note investors, I think this place will be a whole lot better off. So who knows? So other than that, guys, if you'd like to get signed up for our next virtual note buying workshop, like I said, it's July 20th, 21st, 22nd. We spend a whole lot more time going through due diligence than just 45 minutes on that aspect. But that's a good start. Great way to do that. As always, hey, get signed up for that $6.99 a ticket. That's good for you plus a spouse or a partner. And you also get the replays of the previous workshop. Plus, we record it as well. So other than that, guys, that's all I've got for you tonight. Go out, make something happen. And we'll see you all at the top, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Note Night America. Bye. Thanks, CW.